What's good, YouTube? We back with another video, and today I'm going to be giving you guys over 20 tips on how you can overcome beat block. Make sure you stick around for the whole video because there's probably some tips in here that you've never even thought of. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Tip number 1, listen to other musicians. So when I'm going through beat block, I'm not creative, I'm not inspired, I'm not motivated, and usually listening to other musicians tends to get me back going and inspired to just put something out that sounds good, whether if it's a piano player or another producer or even a old sample that I like. Usually listening to something that sounds good to me gets me in the mood to make some music. Tip number 2, upgrade your studio. So if you've been using the same equipment for a year, 2 years, 3 years, it can kind of get stale and boring. Usually upgrading your studio and adding a new piece of equipment or adding some more software, some plugins, some VSTs can really get you inspired to make something new. Tip number 3, start learning a new instrument. If you're making beats and you don't really know how to play any instruments, learn an instrument like the piano, a guitar, saxophone, trombone, anything can really step up your game and make you stand out. Tip number 4, revisiting old projects. So we all have projects that we've started and never finished. When we started them, we were inspired. When we didn't finish them, we either didn't have enough time or we just lost inspiration. Hopefully with this, once you start it back up, you'll gain that inspiration again and you can start back making music. Tip number 5, try using the opposite of what you use. And what I mean by that is if you use Ableton and all you use is Ableton and like a Ableton push or a launch pad, try using something different like a 404 or try using an MPC or something. Just something out of the ordinary that you don't do. Typically, this will kind of shock you and kind of get you out your comfort zone, and you might have some fun while doing it. Tip number 6, watching other producers make music. Now this one really inspires me. If you have a favorite producer, say somebody like Mind Design or DiBiase or Flying Lotus, try to search the web to find a video of them making music and them going through the creative process, and hopefully that'll help you get back in the creative process. Tip number 7, collaborate with other artists. If you're lacking the creativity to make something, maybe another artist such as a producer or an instrument player can help you get a boost of creativity and get back in the lab. Tip number 8, try a new genre. So if you've been making boom bap beats all this time, just hardcore old school hip hop boom bap beats, try something new like house beats or drill beats or something out there like trap or just something way out that you usually wouldn't do. You might be able to crank something out and find a new passion. Tip number 9, get some new sound packs. Now I always do this. If you've been using the same drums for ages, chances are you need to update your arsenal. There's tons of producers out there like Stolen Drums, Iman Omari, and Nico Beats, just to name a few, that puts out tons of sound packs that are actually good. Tip number 10, get involved with the culture. So if you're in the beat scene in LA, there's tons of things that you could do, from beat cinema to scenario, or even just going into live streams and viewing them from home. Get involved with the culture and you might just make some friends and you all can get together and make some beats one day. Tip number 11, study music theory. If you're going through beat block and there's absolutely nothing that you can do to be creative, but you want to contribute to your musical career, study some music theory. It's not going to hurt anybody and it's really going to be beneficial for you in the long run. Tip number 12, try to make one good loop instead of one good beat. If you break things down and try to just focus on the little things one at a time, you'll be surprised at what you can do. I've done this many times where I just start off with just one 2-bar loop, put in some good chords or get a good sample pattern going, get some dirty drums over it, and just call it a day. Sometimes I'll even make it into a whole beat, so maybe you should give it a shot too. Tip number 13, take a trip to a unique place. Now, for some people, they get inspired from experiences. So maybe if you can go to a beach or go to a nice park or go to the mountains and whip your car around or go to a viewpoint and just view the city from a different point of view, that'll inspire you to express the emotions that you're feeling in music. Step number 14, step outside of your comfort zone. When I say that, try something like singing over your beats or rapping or even just laying down some one-shot vocals. Or forget that, try to sample something that's way different from the genre that you usually sample. So if you're using sampling soul Try to do something different like a Brazilian sample, or do something different like a pop sample. Usually you might just get bored with the things that you're doing on a constant basis, and you need to try something new. Step number 15. Organize your studio or your workspace. Taking a step back and just looking at your studio and deciding to change it up or upgrade it or make it look better can really make you get in the mood to make some music. Things like adding LED lights to your area, or adding plants around your area, or just having a picture hanging will really get you in the mood to make some music in that new space. Step number 16. Watch interviews / documentaries of your favorite producers. Nowadays on the internet, there's tons of videos of tons of different producers. Say if your favorite producer is Flying Lotus, for an easy example. Try to watch a documentary of him explaining the struggles he went through, or his musical journey that he went through to get him to the point that he is at now. Or watch an interview of, say, DiBiase or Kiefer. Things like that really opens you up, and these producers, these OGs, have a lot of insight on making music, and it might just say something that sparks something inside of you. Piggybacking off of tip 16, tip number 17 is actually try to make a beat that sounds similar to your favorite producers. So say if your favorite producer of all time is J Dilla, they've got websites like Who Sampled, and even on YouTube they have playlists full of samples that J Dilla used. Try to snag one of them and see if you can do something similar, or try to recreate it, or just see what you can do with the same material that he once used. Tip number 18, sit back and reflect on your goals for music. So whether if it's money, or you want to have a big fan base, or you just want to be recognized as a dope producer, sit back and think about what you really want from music. Tip number 19, instead of being so serious, try to just have some fun. Try to do something silly or wonky, or something that nobody does. Try to have some fun and make a beat with just vocals, or try to make a beat with just a limited amount of time, or make a beat with 2 rocks and just use the sounds of the rocks clinking together. It probably won't be the best beat ever, but if you're having fun with that, that's getting you through the beat box. Tip number 20, make a beat with somebody who's never made a beat before. This will actually be interesting on both parts, because this person has no experience, and if you're looking at them making these beats and it just isn't turning out, you might feel like, man, I can really impress this person, or I can really do something way better, and you might just want to show just how good you are, and hopefully that sparks some creativity in you. Tip number 21, which is the last tip, is take a break. Sometimes when you're going through beat block, there's nothing that you can do, and the best thing that you can do is just hit reset and take a break, whether if it's 20 minutes, a day, a week, even months. There's been times where I've went weeks and months without making beats because I just wasn't inspired. There was no point in forcing it, and there was nothing that I can really do to get out of the slump. So I waited a little bit, and eventually I came back around. So that's gonna do it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and hopefully I told you a tip that you never really thought about. So with that being said, next time you're experiencing beat block, go ahead and give one of these a try, and hopefully it takes you out of that slump and you get back to creating some dope beats. But that's pretty much all I had to say for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, do me a favor and subscribe. I'm about to hit 2K and my goal is 5K. So do me a favor and subscribe and share the video around. But I ain't really got much else to say, so peace out.